This is CBC Here and Now.
We're in for another temperature ride on the weather roller coaster this week.
I got a letter saying they couldn't deliver mail, and they delivered it.
Canada Post delivers a warning: your mail might not be delivered.
Women can avail of a snack while they might be receiving counseling. That might be the only thing that they've eaten in the last 2 weeks.
Access to affordable food, it has become a major problem in this province. Good evening tonight. Canada Post is defending its decision to stop delivering mail to some St. John's homes because of all the snow and icy sidewalks. But one downtown resident says that decision just doesn't add up. Here now's Mark Quinn reports.
This is one of the sidewalks letter carriers must use to deliver mail in the Rollins Cross area of the city. And it's the route that Canada Post used to hand deliver a letter to this home on Monkstown Road.
And it was a kind, apologetic letter saying they were very sorry that due to weather conditions they could not deliver any mail by hand.
Price Phillips finds the letter and the way it arrived at his home by hand curious.
I got a letter saying they couldn't deliver mail, and they delivered it. So I just thought that was strange.
Mail service has recommenced for Price Phillips, but he believes there wasn't a good reason to stop it on Saturday. He says many other people were able to make it safely to his home when Canada Post wouldn't.
Everyone's got in. Grocery deliveries, friends, neighbours, couriers. And yet Canada Post was not able to.
Canada Post told CBC that it delivered this notice here safely with 2 employees, a driver and a mail carrier. But it says snow and ice conditions here made it unsafe for a letter carrier to do that work alone. Price Phillips isn't entirely unsympathetic, and he's calling on the city to improve its services too.
They, I feel, really have to put snow clearing and snow removal as a priority, which I feel from their actions in this last month they've failed to do.
Mark Quinn, CBC News, St. John's.
Well, speaking of slippery conditions, temperatures right now warm as far as eastern Newfoundland goes, well above 0, but that's going to change as we head through the evening tonight. We've got that area of low pressure moving all of that rain through right now, and in behind that we've got some cold air moving in, and that's going to continue to do so as we head through the overnight tonight. You can see that cold pool of air over Quebec and Ontario right now. By the time you wake up in the morning, conditions are going to be significantly different, down to the minus teens along the west coast up through Labrador. A cold night tonight as well. If you can see, down to about -6 by the time you walk out the door tomorrow morning. We've got some wind chills on tap as well. I'll have all the details coming up.
Well, the science backs it up. Cooking with craft beer is better for you? Well, that story in just a moment. But first, controlling traffic in a construction zone is dangerous work. In fact, it can even be fatal. Tonight, as Here and Now's Terry Roberts reports, flag workers will soon require even more training.
Roger Motti has trained flag people for years. He knows all the stories.
I would put this line of work at very dangerous.
When these are the tools of the trade, chances are you've had a close call on the job. For the workers on the road, danger comes out of nowhere. Impatient, distracted drivers behind the wheel of speeding cars. It's just not safe. In fact, 3 road construction workers died on the job in this province over the last decade. Many more have been hurt. So beginning April 1st, 2 brand new courses are being launched by Workplace NL.
There are still accidents occurring, and we want to ensure that we're doing everything we can to make those work sites as safe as they can be.
One is a mandatory and enhanced flag persons course. 8 hours of training, double the current requirement. More in line with how it's done in other provinces.
More training comes with more knowledge, creates a safer employee, a safer workplace.
For the first time, a common curriculum for all 43 private training providers. The second is a training course for workers who supervise or design traffic control plans at a construction site. For now, voluntary, but
I do anticipate it will become mandatory into the future.
there are more than 9,000 certified flag persons in this province. The overhaul for their training comes out of a review by government, road builders, unions, and trainers that found improvements were needed.
To the best of my knowledge, I do think there is widespread support for these changes.
Whether the province's road builders support this initiative is unknown. The association that speaks for them would not do an interview. The changes in the training will mean higher costs for contractors. However,
we fully expect that through a reduction in injuries and lower risks and a greater safety on those sites, there will actually be a cost savings in the longer term.
drivers will also notice changes, improved signage, and more of them. If you're one of the several thousand traffic control persons in this province, slow down for a second. You do not have to go out on April 1st and do this enhanced training. But when your current certification does expire, you will have to do it. Terry Roberts, CBC News, Mount Pearl.
Well, if Terry were a school crossing guard, there's one school he would not be working at. More bad news for Bishop Field Elementary School. The reopening is delayed yet again. About 90 years of age, Bishop Field is the oldest school in St. John's. It shut down abruptly more than 2 years ago. This after a section of the concrete roof in the gym collapsed. Well, repairs are continuing with staff and students initially told that they'd be back in the building last month, but new problems in December involving water seeping into the building pushed that date back to April, and now the reopening is moved to this coming September because the water problem still isn't resolved. Well, police are investigating a stabbing on Monday in Dover, just west of Gambo. A man allegedly forced his way into a house and got into a fight with another man inside the home and then stabbed him. The injured man was taken to the hospital in Gander and he is expected to recover, but police arrested the suspected attacker and charged him with break and enter with intent and aggravated assault. Well, Muskrat Falls was supposed to be generating electricity by now. Should have started more than 2 years ago, in fact. But the problems just keep adding up. Now the issue is at the generating station at Muskrat Falls. Nalcor says it's been testing the first of 4 turbines by operating them at high speeds with water flowing through the station, but it's found a problem with it. Nalcor says it's not a big deal and the contractor is picking up the cost, but it is the latest setback. Nalcor had promised first power in November and then sometime this month, and now that schedule is uncertain. Well, if you're a craft beer lover, this story might give you another reason to drink it. A new study at Memorial University's Grenfell campus finds that there are health benefits when grilling with craft beer. Here now's Troy Turner explains.
It's hard to argue with the science. Grilling meat with a marinade of craft beer tastes better. While the average barbecue connoisseur might have been able to tell you that, scientists with Memorial University found it also more nutritional and helps fight cancer.
We were quite surprised that we had wonderful preservation of these anti-cancer compounds and a huge suppression of heterocyclic amines. That was a big surprise to us.
Manful is one of several researchers working with Associate Professor Raymond Thomas at Grenfell's Functional Foods Research Program. The research involves a lengthy and precise process. The beer is analyzed for its raw ingredients, then used in a standardized preparation process. It's then grilled at the exact same temperature with controlled times.
I think the formulation will be of the recipe will become more popular and more well known.
When cooked, the meat is taken back to the lab where taste tests are conducted. Pieces of meat then undergo tests for nutrition and safety. The results show the marinades preserved anti-cancer compounds and improved antioxidants. Thomas says craft beer was used because it's unfiltered and its brewers often experiment with ingredients.
If you're a small craft brewer, you can go out and you could play around with different types of ingredients. So you have more independence in terms of new formulations that you can come up with over a shorter period of time. And I think that's where the difference is. But whether it's a large producer or a craft brewer, you still have to have a standardized recipe that you make.
The results have been published in 2 food science journals.
One of the things that I hope will come from this work is that there's an alternative use for unfiltered based craft beers that have these herb, spices, fruits, vegetables used in the formulation, that you could use them to make different types of marinades to improve the nutritional quality and safety of grilled food.
As comprehensive as this project was, it actually started in 2016, we'll expect to see more from the Functional Foods Research Lab in the future. And it'll likely involve craft beer. Now, a moment I've been waiting for. Troy Turner, CBC News, Corner Brook.
It's a live look outside the studio here in St. John's. Rain now, and over the next couple of hours, you might want to get out and put some salt down because temperatures are really going to drop. I'll have all those details coming up.
This weather update is brought to you by the NL 511 app. Know before you go. Check road conditions, highway cameras, and the provincial plow tracker with the NL 511 app.
Okay, so you've got something cool you want to show us before
do.
we get to this? All right.
It was a messy day today. Take a look at this video posted by Todd Perrin on Instagram earlier today.
What is that?
It's just like a little vortex of wind.
I thought it was
and
a creature
rain.
swimming in circles.
Yeah.
It was pretty cool.
It was pretty cool. It was a windy day today, a wild weather day today.
So what's going on there? Just the wind swirling it around?
That's right. That's what happens. You get those strong winds. So we'll take a look at what of the, well, there you go again. There it is again.
But you meteorologists love swirling things.
Yep.
On your graphics, hurricanes, little puddles. If it swirls.
It's a low pressure system. It's creating a little low pressure system there.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. If we take a look at what we saw wind-wise, it was windy. So the gust recorded at the airport was 109 kilometers per hour. Rec House area reported 135 kilometers per hour, and you see a number of areas just nearing the 90 kilometer per hour winds today, and they have eased slightly and temperatures have climbed. So we are into the single digits on the plus side of the mercury for most of eastern Newfoundland, topped out at 5 degrees in St. John's. And then about 1 degree, I believe it was, or at least -1, maybe even 0 degrees for Corner Brook earlier this afternoon. And as we head through the night tonight and this area of low pressure moves off, so will this rain. So we should see a couple of more hours of this rain. It's already over the Avalon. That will continue to push further east. But as we get into a more northeasterly flow, or at least a westerly flow for the most part, these winds are going to stay strong. So I've left them on here just to show you what's going to happen as we head through the night tonight. So onshore flurries in westerly winds along the west coast. You're looking at gusts tonight anywhere from 50 to as much as 80 kilometers per hour. We'll see those winds slowly ease, but still stay strong, still stay pretty brisk actually as we head towards the eastern portion of the island as well, 50 to about 60 kilometers per hour. And then we've got those strong winds up through Labrador as well. So by the time tomorrow morning rolls around, you are going to definitely see some blowing snow overnight tonight along the west coast. We do still have those blowing snow advisories, anticipating that those rainfall warnings for the Burin Peninsula as well as the southern Avalon will end in the next couple of hours. And then we've got those extreme cold warnings. Lab West and up through Nain, you're looking at wind chills tonight. Fairly cold, and that's because your temperatures are dipping. -32 overnight tonight with those strong winds, making wind chills anywhere from -45 to as much as -50 as we head through the overnight tonight. Temperatures will drop, so we're looking at -teens along the west coast as we head towards the eastern portion of the island. Temperatures dipping into the -single digits, and then they're going to continue to drop as we head through the day tomorrow. And anywhere really where you see these westerly winds and onshore flurries are possible. Some peaks of sun through central through the day, but again, those winds are going to stay strong, anywhere from 50 to 70 kilometers per hour. Clearing skies up through Labrador, except along the coast where you're looking at that potential for flurry. So with these strong winds and cold temperatures tomorrow morning, your wind chills will be feeling into the -20s, -teens as you head east, as I mentioned, close to -50 for Lab City. And then into the afternoon, they're just going to get worse. So make sure if you do have any plans outside tomorrow that you are bundled up. But along the west coast in those onshore flurries, you're going to see blowing snow through the day. So conditions won't be great for driving. And then into the afternoon, as we head towards the west, those temperatures are going to drop, and so will those wind chills. So definitely very different than what we saw today as far as weather goes. So here's where your temperatures will be sitting by the morning and then dropping into the afternoon into the -teens. Like I said, -7 will be your essentially morning temperature for St. John's. A little bit of peaks of sun through central, and then just cold day up through Labrador. -24 for Lab City, and then again those flurries along the coastal areas. But you're still looking at temperatures in the -20s. Friday stays pretty quiet as well. We're looking at temperatures staying cold, unfortunately, into the -single digits, -9 for St. John's. Plenty of sunshine, though. Still going to hang on to that onshore flurry potential for the west coast. Some coastal flurries up through Labrador as well. And then we'll start to see some flurries move in for Lab City, sitting around -16. So we are in for some roller coaster ride as far as those temperatures go. Here's where we'll be sitting. So by the Friday and Saturday look quiet, which is good. Nice sunshine. By the time we get into Sunday, that's when those temperatures climb up, and then we get a little bit more unsettled with that potential for some flurries right through Monday. For central Newfoundland, we're looking at flurries on Friday, Saturday -5, and then jumping up again. So about 1 degree by the time Monday rolls around for central Newfoundland with that potential for some flurries. Generally gray in onshore flurries pretty much through Sunday for western Newfoundland. 2 degrees by the time you go through the afternoon on Monday. For eastern Labrador, quiet and cold, and then -5. So you're going to see a jump in temperatures on Saturday. That looks like an absolutely beautiful day. And then for western Labrador, -16 for your Friday. jumping up on Saturday and then back down as we head through Sunday. So I just wanted to share your weather photo of the day today. This was last evening looking towards Bay St. George. Allison sent us that great shot. How beautiful is that?
It's wonderful, and part of my imagination pictures that snow as sand.
White sand, that's exactly what I was thinking.
That is a beautiful part of the province.
It really is. Thank you so much, Allison, for sending that in. And if you have any weather photos to share with us, send them to nlphotos@cbc.ca.
When you have to choose between paying the bills and food usually comes near the end.
When it comes to affordable food, single parents in this province are most likely to go without. It's a new CBC series, Fed Up. Tonight, we're launching a special series called Fed Up, and it's all about food insecurity in this province and why so many people are finding it harder to feed their families. The series is a collaboration between CBC and Food First NL. That's a nonprofit that aims to improve access to healthy, safe, and culturally appropriate food. So what does food insecurity mean? Well, it's not just about our access to food, it's also about affordability. In this province, it's worse than ever. The latest numbers show that we've gone from having the lowest instances of food insecurity to some of the highest. Throughout 2020, CBC-NL will explore who in our province is struggling and why. We're going to explore rural communities, new Canadians, and Indigenous peoples along the way. But tonight, we start with the group that is most likely to go without. That's single parents. CBC host Jane Adey led a panel discussion with frontline workers who see this play out in our province every day.
I definitely don't sleep very well. There's definitely probably hours a day that, you're sitting at work and you're like, okay, gotta get home, feed the kids. What am I gonna make for them? Do I have the ingredients I need? If I don't have the ingredients, do I have enough money to go buy them? Do I need to come up with something else? And then, of course, the kids, if you have something else going on, it's like, when am I gonna fit in the time to make the meal? And then the kids are always like, let's go to McDonald's. You have to say no. And then, like constantly, I find with myself where I have a side hustle, as I like to call it, I spend a lot of hours in the evening kind of trying to come up with ways to make more money from that so that we're a little more comfortable. So it's difficult to balance those needs a lot of the time.
That is Dara Squire. She is a single mother of 3 children. She works full-time here in St. John's and is a freelance writer on the side. But as you just heard, feeding her family is something that plays on her mind quite often. She's not alone. In fact, more people than ever before in Newfoundland and Labrador find themselves worried about how they'll put food on the table. Hi everyone, I'm Jane Adey and I'd like to welcome you to Fed Up, a discussion about food insecurity in Newfoundland and Labrador. This series is a collaboration between CBC-NL and Food First NL, the province's not-for-profit organization that works to improve access to healthy, safe, and culturally appropriate food. Now, at one point, this province was the poster child for managing food insecurity. You only have to look back to 2011. Other provinces looked at what we were doing here. Today, we have the highest rates of food insecurity of any Canadian province. Over the next several months, we'll be facilitating conversations to look into why so many people are facing tough times. Tonight, we're talking about the group most likely to struggle, that's single parents. And we'll try to find some first steps towards solving the problem. Now, to help us do that this evening, we have Natasha Bader, coordinator at the St. John's Women's Centre, Ellie Jones, program director at Thrive. Thrive is a nonprofit organization that provides a number of different programs and services for vulnerable people in our community. We have Elaine Balsam, the Executive Director of the Single Parents Association of Newfoundland and Labrador, and Heather Bartlett, the Executive Director with Daybreak Parent-Child Centre, which is where we are tonight. And I'd also like to introduce my co-host for this evening, that's reporter Adam Walsh. Happy to have you here, Adam.
Thanks, Jane.
Adam, you've been doing a lot of work on this subject. Now, I guess before we get into the panel discussion, let's talk about the term food insecurity. What does that mean?
Well, Jane, food insecurity is the struggle to afford food. Picture this, a table of food in front of me. I can't have access to it because I can't afford it. We're going to drill down into that issue tonight. But first, here's a video that explains just what food insecurity means.
What is food insecurity? Food insecurity is a term used to describe the struggle to afford food. Poverty is the root cause. The less money a person has, the more likely they are to experience food insecurity. There are different kinds of food insecurity. Marginal food insecurity is when you worry food may run out before you have enough money to buy more. Moderate food insecurity means you buy less food or lower quality food to make ends meet. And then there's severe food insecurity. This is when you run out of food, skip meals, or go for days without eating. Children can feel many impacts of food insecurity throughout their lives. It affects their learning and behavior, and it also limits their opportunities to engage with their friends and community. People who experience food insecurity may face many health issues: diabetes, heart disease, and high blood pressure, to name a few. They also face high rates of anxiety, depression, and suicide.
Okay, so we're clear on the definition of food insecurity. Thank you for that clip, Adam. Now, as I said, in this case of food insecurity, we're talking about single parents. Again, they're one of the most likely groups to experience food insecurity. Breaking that down a little bit further, they're mostly single mothers. So, Elaine, I'm going to start with you. Who are some of the people walking through the door of the Single Parents Association?
We have a lot of single moms, a few single dads, but the majority is single moms. Some are working at low wages, and they are not making ends meet. They do not have the food. They run out. So there's severe cases. They're skipping meals, so the children will have food to eat. Children are being kept home from school because there's nothing to send them for recess or anything like that.
You mentioned that there are working jobs with low wages. Can you give me a sense of maybe what some of those jobs might be?
Well, some of those jobs could be like like fast food service jobs. And a lot of jobs now are more part-time than full-time. So some parents and single moms especially are having to work 2 or 3 jobs just to get food on the table.
Not easy.
No, it's not. And when you have to choose between paying the bills and food, food usually comes near the end.
Heather, those single parents who avail of childcare services here at Daybreak, are they mostly single mothers too?
We certainly have a mix of families, but there's always a population of single moms in our organization for sure.
And what kinds of stories are you hearing from them when it comes to food insecurity?
Well, I guess it's probably the same as what you're experiencing at SPAN is people coming in. We have what we call a food cupboard here at Daybreak. So there was a social worker back in the history who felt that food was justice, and she always kept food underneath her desk, Barb Harriman. And today we honor that tradition by having a small food cupboard, but we can only manage like supper for the evening, breakfast in the morning. And exactly what you just said, a lot of moms are asking for the snacks for recess because snacks for recess are the preferred choice of children anyways. And if they know it's in the cupboard, they want it. So oftentimes that's, excuse me, that's the first thing that they run out of. So therefore, they're always looking to add to their own cupboards at home. So food is a big piece of what we do here.
How do they talk to you about how they manage at home, how they work it out so that they do have enough food to last?
One of the things I think is a misperception about single moms is they're great budgeters. So when we sit down and talk with single moms, I'm always amazed at how well they do with the little that they have. But when their children do come to Daybreak, one of the reliefs that they get is that we do provide 2 healthy snacks and a lunch. And because we're a parent-child center, the parents are welcome to attend as well. So lots of moms and dads come in, drop their children off in the morning, and we'll go down into our parent kitchen and have a snack before they go to work or go to school or go with their day. So even supplementing their meals here, they say is quite helpful. We've done cooking programs here. We've collaborated with other nonprofits in the city to teach cooking skills. So it's a complex issue.
But that, as you said, the offering of that food here at the center means a lot to them.
Yeah, and children get to be exposed to food that they probably aren't exposed to at home. I've heard a lot of our families say that they're buying their groceries at Dollarama. So we know that Dollarama is not serving, you can't purchase fresh fruit or vegetables at Dollarama. So again, our children are being exposed to fruits and vegetables that they've never seen before because their parents they just can't afford to buy it.
Okay. Now, as we just saw in that video, there are 3 different kinds of food insecurity, but studies show that single moms are most likely to experience severe food insecurity, which is actually running out of food, skipping meals, or going days without eating. Natasha, is that something that you see a lot at the Women's Center?
Most definitely. I would say it would be a rare occurrence where we were supporting women who didn't have that going on or who weren't skipping meals in order to be able to provide it for their children. You know, across our programs, we ensure that we have either a snack or a full meal attached to each one of our programs, tea, coffee, so, you know, women can avail of a snack while they might be receiving counseling, and that might be the only thing that they've eaten in the last 2 weeks, because, you know, they're trying to provide the lunches for the school or for the children and for recess. So yeah, it definitely is, you know, a chronic issue for women that we serve at the Women's Center.
Same experience at Thrive?
Same for us, and I think it's really important to keep in mind we see in the summer, so even while schools and during the school year, we see really great programs like Kids Eat Smarter, the school lunch program, where children in the schools can avail of healthy breakfast and healthy lunch options. But once we get into those summer months where those programs are not operating for children, so the food demand actually increases for parents in the summer and for single parents in the summer, because we're sending kids to they might be fortunate enough to go to camp, but they don't have food to send with them to camp, a lunch or a snack, which means that often children miss out on really important community connections and development because they're not getting food to take to those camps. So often there might be subsidies, for example, for the camp, but not for food to take to the camp. And often, you know, the reflex is kind of like, it'll go to the food bank. But the services, while the food banks are good in the communities, what people can only go once every 4 weeks. And often what the food bank has available is what they have available, and it might not be complete in terms of snacks for children or being able to prepare a complete meal for the family.
How often would you say you are getting calls about food insecurity?
Food insecurity is a daily issue within our organization.
Daily?
Daily, yeah.
And are there more severe cases, or do you deal mostly with working moms as well?
We would see a range within our organization. We also see single individuals as well who might not be parents. The interesting thing in those cases is that if you're a single person or a single adult experiencing food insecurity, the options within our community are much greater. There are lots of places where people can go to get a hot meal during the day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. If you're a single parent, those options are restricted because often you cannot bring children to the community meals that are being offered. There's no place where a family can go and sit at a table and have those free kind of meals the way that other folks in the community would. We do see single parents who, if their children are at school during the day, may be able to access some of those meals, but it's not typically the case.
Coming up after the break, we'll look at the impacts of food insecurity on families.
Bill Gregory was a voice in Newfoundland radio for almost 25 years. Now he's come home to the family farm. Bill Gregory, off air, Sunday at noon and Monday at 7.
I'm Jane Adey. We're talking about food insecurity in this province. Food insecurity is when someone has financial barriers to accessing food. At one point, fewer than 10 years ago in this province, Newfoundland and Labrador was the poster child for poverty reduction. Now the story is much, much different. We're talking about the people most likely to experience food insecurity tonight, and that's single parents. And on this panel this evening, we have Natasha Bader of the St. John's Women's Centre, Ellie Jones of Thrive, Elaine Balsam is the Executive Director of the Single Parents Association of Newfoundland and Labrador. Heather Bartlett is with Daybreak Parent-Child Centre, which is, as I said, where we are tonight. Now I want to move on and talk about the impacts of food insecurity on families and individuals. Obviously, we've talked about the less money a person has, the more likely they are to experience food insecurity. I would imagine for a lot of people, it's something that they feel like they need to hide. How often is shame a part of this story, Elaine?
Very much so. We have clients who are reluctant to come to us, and come in that door to get that help with food in a food hamper. And we've had instances where they've had neighbors who have said, well, why are you going? You shouldn't be doing that. But they don't know the story, what that single mom is facing. Because as alluded to already, it's one income. That mom is trying to make everything go on one income. It could be a marriage breakdown or a relationship breakdown or violence. She has to start all over again. And she's assuming all the responsibilities of that household on her one income. And it's difficult. We've had people that, are so withdrawn when they come in, but we make that environment as friendly as we can. And I want to allude that, our food hampers, we try to provide as much as we can. We try to put items in that are from planned meals, items that could go together. We often sometimes we don't have the milk and the dairy products, but I will put in food gift cards so the parents can go and buy that. And, we give enough about our hampers going out are anywhere from $200 to $300 worth of food. So we're giving enough for about 2 weeks. And we do emergency hampers in between. And we get lots of those calls that people are not making, food can't last. And unfortunately, that's a very real case. But shame, and shame, the children feel that too, They go to school and if they don't have certain items for recess or certain items, it's bullying, it's being teased by your classmates and so on. So shame is a big part of it.
Natasha, you hear those stories a lot, parents who just, they don't want to talk about it. They don't want to draw attention to it. Maybe for the sake of their kids, they don't want their kids to be embarrassed. Do you hear that a lot?
I do. I always hear that St. John's is a small town and everyone has, cousins or aunties, know somebody of somebody, right? And they don't want to be pointed out or have to tell their story because there is a lot of stigma attached, or, there's assumptions in place about addictions or, maybe they smoke or something like that. Just a lot of judgments put onto the person, so they don't want to come forward and say, I need support in terms of being able to get food to provide it for my children and for myself too, right? Because food is our fuel.
Mm-hmm. Do you hear that too, Heather? Judgment from other people in these single mothers in their lives, people judging them for the situation that they're in?
Oh, absolutely. And obviously, that's a lack of understanding. Big thing that we do at Daybreak is we have a Healthy Baby Club. And so the Healthy Baby Club helps moms during pregnancy, during prenatal care, giving them gift certificates to buy nutritional food. But one of the greatest shames that is shameful is when baby is born and the expectation and the pressure is put on moms to breastfeed. And we know that if you're stressed and malnourished yourself, then your breast milk isn't going to come in. It's not going to provide enough milk for your baby. And formula is really expensive, right? I mean, I remember my own mother talking about breastfeeding in the 60s, and my mother wouldn't breastfeed because only poor people breastfed. Right? So now it's turned to now it's why aren't you breastfeeding? And if you don't breastfeed, why aren't you?
There's a lot of misjudging of single parents and wondering why. Well, why are they smoking, or why are they having that drink or on the weekend, or why are they going downtown, you know, when they should be using that money for something else? Well, you don't know what they've given up during that week or those 2 weeks. And unless you've lived in that type of a situation, it's not fair to make those judgments, because it's a very difficult life. And they need some escape, something to give them a little bit of sanity, I guess, to the situation.
Back to something that we saw earlier in the video at the beginning of the night. We know from research that there is a link between food insecurity and illness. Now, not the case for everyone. But oftentimes there's an impact on physical and mental health. Ellie, can you speak to that? The stress, you alluded to it a little bit, in what you've already said, but the mental impacts for people who cannot afford food, what happens?
So when we know that people are living with food insecurity, we also know that if you're not able to afford food, you're living on a pretty tight budget and life is generally stressful. What that creates for people is a situation of what is termed toxic stress. When people experience toxic stress, it's long-term ongoing stress where, as I said before, people are sitting in survival brain. You're in constant what we call fight or flight mode. Am I going to be okay? And kind of ready to save yourself. What happens when someone is in survival brain and living in toxic stress is that we're flooded by cortisol hormones as well as a whole bunch of other things. And consistent stress in our lives increases the risk for mental health issues such as anxiety, such as depression. The other thing that we know is that when we're in survival brain, the part of our brain that helps us plan and reason is not as well connected to the rest of us. It's a higher order part of our brain where that kind of stuff happens, and you need to be safe and feel okay in order for that part to work. So for children, when we talk about learning and behavior in school, children who are experiencing a lot of toxic stress, who are worried about food, who are worried about eating, are less able to pay attention. They're less able to kind of settle in school and may also experience a lot of anxiety, and likewise for mom who's trying to parent them. And so just by increasing the baseline level of stress in somebody's life, you increase the anxiety, you increase risk of depression and those kind of types of experiences. And so when we look at how do we shift the needle on things like cycles of poverty, cycles of violence within our communities, it really is an issue of how do we feed people? How do we make sure that everybody is okay so that we can take that stress out of there? We need to just kind of get everybody back to baseline so we're all okay. But without providing that kind of support, we're not going to be able to shift the needle on that as long as we leave people in a place where they don't feel safe because they don't have enough resources.
Well, that's part one of our CBC NL series, Fed Up, exploring why so many people struggle to afford food. Now, you can watch the entire discussion focusing on single parents on our YouTube channel. You can also head to our webpage, cbc.ca/NL, to read more about the topic and the series. And as I mentioned, this is just the start of that series, exploring food insecurity in our province. Well, national news with hundreds of layoffs at CN and Via announced today. The Prime Minister is coming under fire by opposition parties as well as some premiers for failing to end the rail blockades. Conservatives in particular are demanding police intervention and they want it right now. But Justin Trudeau says right now that would do more harm than good.
If we were to take the forceful proposals by the Conservatives, we would actually extend the challenges faced by the Canadian economy by many months and possibly years.
Enforcing the rule of law is his duty, and it's an inherent act of peace. Force. How long is he going to let this continue for? A week? A month? A year? Forever?
Now, Mohawks insist they're not going to budge until RCMP move out of Wet'suwet'en territory in BC. And tomorrow, some of the Wet'suwet'en hereditary chiefs at the center of this dispute are going to meet with their Mohawk allies. The chiefs have not yet agreed to meet with the Trudeau government to explore common ground on ending this impasse. Well, to Ottawa now, where the children of a multimillionaire are trying to have his new marriage annulled. They say their 91-year-old father just doesn't have the mental capacity to get married, but he disagrees and he says he wants to be with his new wife. The CBC's Jennifer Chevalier has the story.
Joe Overfelt's property empire is worth about $27 million, but he lives alone in a two-bedroom apartment. He says he'd like to live in the same house as his new wife.
Well, a woman that takes care of me, somebody who has a heart.
After years of running a successful property business, his children say the 91-year-old's mental abilities started to decline. In their legal role as their father's power of attorney, they started managing the business as well as his personal finances. But Overfelt says he's not incapacitated and wants to be able to make his own decisions. He says he got married to a 55-year-old woman he met through a friend to try to revoke and reassign the power of attorney to her.
I saw this was one way I could get the PRA back, but ever since then, it has changed. You know, I love her.
His new wife, Rashida Yamuri, could now inherit a third of his fortune. The children say she's motivated by financial gain. She didn't want to appear on camera, but told CBC she didn't marry Overfelt for money, but to improve his quality of life.
Rashida has a, well, very warm heart, you know. Why don't I just marry Joe and see if I could help?
The question the court has yet to rule on is, did Overfelt have the mental capacity to get married? 3 professional capacity assessments have been done. 2 found he was incapable of managing his property or personal care. But according to his lawyer, that doesn't mean he didn't meet the legal bar to get married.
The threshold to marry is extremely low in Ontario, and power of attorney or not, they are going to have to satisfy a court that he did not have the understanding, and it's a very low understanding of what he was doing when he married.
The couple say Overfelt's children have prevented them from moving in together, and right now they're only permitted to visit each other for 90 minutes in the evening. In legal documents, Overfelt's children deny they've separated the couple and say they restrict visitors to help their father's sleep and treatment schedule. They say they love their father and want to be able to take care of him. The court has not yet ruled on the case. Jennifer Chevalier, CBC News, Ottawa.
I was thinking as we're winding down here and now, and I'll be heading home, just how much sludge I'm going to have to heave with, I don't know, what do you use now, a shovel or a squeegee or?
A big giant
Yeah.
squeegee would be good, yeah.
That's
Or,
a mess, right? I mean, it's nice and shiny out there. Well, anyway, the cars seem to be behaving well. A lot of slush now, right?
Well, it's nice that, you know, roads were a little bit cleared, but if you hadn't cleared, it's going to be cement.
That's going to freeze up overnight, right?
It certainly is, yep.
All right,
It's gonna freeze
so
up.
you might want to get out there and get rid of what will freeze overnight. I know that's what I've got in store before dinner tonight, so let's go to a happier place.
Yeah.
Where there's less sludge.
Which looks like a beach and warm
What a shot, huh?
skies.
Yeah.
I'm going to just go there for a second.
Couple of months to see the fishing boats out there. Beautiful area.
Yeah, so this was actually taken in Stephenville, but looking towards
okay,
St.
that's looking the other way.
Mm-hmm.
Nice angle.
Yep.
I've seen it from the St. George side, but I haven't seen it from the Stephenville side. That's nice.
Yep, had to share it with you one more time just because it was so pretty.
Why not?
Absolutely.
You get a bit of wind
gorgeous.
there, though.
Just a little bit.
You could tell.
Hey, it was windy
flat.
here today.
That's true. What am I
109
talking about?
kilometers an hour.
109?
That's what we topped out at.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to sort of normal up tomorrow?
Yes.
Okay.
It's still going to be windy and
Yeah,
cold.
but not 109.
Just make sure you're bundled up. Not
Not
109.
109, okay.
No.
Not 109. There's something to look forward to on Thursday.
And there's good thing to look forward to. I don't really see anything significant for
Right.
the next little bit.
Okay.
Fingers crossed.
There we go. Thanks a lot for watching, and we'll see you again tomorrow evening on Here and Now.
Good night.